Hello everybody and welcome to German class. In this lecture, we will be talking about personal pronouns in dative case. In German, we call it Personalpronomen. Personalpronomen im Dativ, right? So when I talk about personal pronouns in dative case, there are two terms which you need to understand. One is personal pronouns and second, what you need to understand is dative case. So two things you need to focus on. What is dative case and what do you understand with the term of personal pronouns, right? So if I say personal pronouns, right? If I say personal pronouns, so what is personal pronoun? Personal pronouns are the words which we use in place of the noun, in place of noun, the words which we use in place of noun. For example, here it says Martin ist mein Freund. Martin wohnt in Noida. Ich kenne Martin seit 5 Jahren. Ich helfe Martin immer. So Martin is my friend. Martin lives in Noida. I know Martin for last 5 years, and I help Martin, right? So these are four sentences for you. Now there is a repetition of noun. The noun is Martin, like Martin is my friend. Martin lives in Noida. I know Martin for last 5 years, and I always help Martin. So Martin is repeating in all the sentences. Now, now what is the definition of personal pronouns? Personal pronouns are the words which we use in place of a noun. So for example, here Martin is my friend. Now in place of Martin, I can use some word. So that I can avoid this repetition. So to avoid the repetition, whatever words we use is known as are known as personal pronouns, right? Are known as personal pronouns. Now, like in this sentence, if I say second sentence, I can use he, that means air in German. If I talk about third sentence, so I know him for last 5 years, right? So ich helfe, I help him, I always help him. So Martin, if I say Martin, I can use as he, or I can also use as him. So both are personal pronouns. He and him, both are personal pronouns, right? So if I say he, it is subject. If I say him, it is an object, right? So in personal pronouns, example of he and him, he or him, both are personal pronouns. But what is the difference? This he is subject and him is an object. Now, what is dative? Dative we have discussed many times before. Like dative, if I talk about a sentence has, if I talk about a sentence has three things. One is subject, one is verb, and second is an object. Third is an object. Now, this object can be a direct object or it can be an indirect object. So, this subject part is known as nominative. This direct object is known as accusative, and this indirect object is known as dative. So this we have already discussed when we were discussing dative verbs, when we were discussing articles, right? All this concept we have discussed. So if you still have doubt in this, I would request you to revise the notes of dative verbs. Now here, this example, look at this example, these two sentences, right? First sentence says, mein Freund wohnt in Berlin. My friend lives in Berlin. Ich schreibe ihm einen Brief. So my friend lives in Berlin. I write him a letter. So we need to identify what is personal pronoun in this. In these two sentences, what is personal pronoun? So personal pronoun is him, right? This is personal pronoun which we have used in place of my friend. I could have written my friend lives in Berlin and I write my friend a letter. So but I have used him, right? To make it more beautiful. Similarly, we do it in German also, like we use personal pronoun whenever we need to avoid the repetition of any noun, right? So before we proceed further, please do not get confused between personal pronoun and possessive pronoun. Personal pronouns are the words which we use in place of a noun. For example, I have just taken the example of he or him. Him is an object. So I or me, uh, she or her, right? We or us, they or them. So all these are personal pronoun. But possessive pronouns are the words which show the possession, like my pen. Whose pen? My pen. Your teacher. Whose teacher? Your teacher. His house. So whose house? His house. Her toy. So whose toy? Her toy, right? So all these are possessive pronoun, are parents, are parents. So all these words show possession, right? So in exam, please do not get confused, because in exam you will have one question from personal pronoun and one question from possessive pronoun, right? So you should be very careful which pronoun are you using. All right, now let's discuss about personal pronoun only. Uh, so personal pronoun, here I have made a table for you for all the personal pronouns, right? So first says ish. Ish we have done in our previous classes, in our initial classes, which means I, right? This is nominative. That means this we use whenever I'm using it as a subject. But mish and mere, both we use as an object. This we use whenever there is an accusative object. That means if I'm using me as an direct object. But if I'm using mere, that means I'm using it as an indirect object. And if you still have any doubt between what is direct object, what is an indirect object, I will again request you to revise the notes of dative verbs. There I have explained you this thing very, in very detail. So again, do is you. This we use, do we use in nominative, but this we use in accusative, and dear we use in dative. Similarly here, air we use in nominative, right? Air we use in nominative, in we use in accusative, and in we use in dative. Z we use in nominative, Z we use in accusative, and ear we use in dative. So in this lecture, we will be focusing on dative only, right? We will be covering up dative, because nominative we have already covered up in our initial level. Accusative also we have covered up, right? Uh, in our initial level. Now this is the advanced stage where you need to learn, where you need to talk about dative. That means indirect object. All right, now let's discuss the meaning. Here, here I have written meanings for you. Like I in German, if I say I, it is ish. But if I say me, it can be mish, it can be mere, because me is an object, right? So both accusative and dative, both are objects. So in English, meaning will remain same, but in German we have different word, mish and mere, and the usage. If I'm using it as an indirect object, I'll be using dative. If I'm using as a direct object, I'll be using accusative. So here is you is do, and dish and dear are also you, right? But in German it is different. He is air, but him can be in, him can be im. That depends whether I'm using it accusative or I'm using it as dative. I'll be discussing this thing in more detail. For the time being, you just need to note down this table. You need to note down the meanings, right? So that you can refer the table when I'll discuss the sentences. You can refer all the complete table, so you can note down this table simultaneously. Like here, Z, she is Z, and Z and ear are her. And then we have in as it, uns, us, oish. The pronunciation is oish. That means you all. And ihnen, them. And again, ihnen is you. Now what you need to focus here, I have written small I. If it is small I, right, that means them. But if I write capital I, right, here it is capital I, that means you, formal. Here again it is you, this is again you, and this is again you. So this is first you, this is second you, and this is third you. The difference is this is informal. This is again informal but plural. This was informal but singular. Here it is formal, singular and plural. So the only difference is, if I take this you, this is informal but singular. This is informal but plural. This is formal, singular and plural. So both are there, right? So I hope this thing, so far this thing is clear to you. Now let's look at the examples. Let's look at the example. First example, it says Ram und Sham haben kein Geld. So Ram and Sham have no money. They have no money. Ram and Sham haben kein Geld. Ram and Sham have no money. Ich gebe, I will give 20 Euro, 20 Euro. So whom I am going to give? Ram and Sham. So there are two ways to write. There are two ways to fill this blank. One is Ram and Sham have no money. I give Ram and Sham 20 Euro. This is one possibility. But here, if I write Ram and Sham, then there will be a repetition of this. But I don't want to repeat Ram and Sham. I want to use a word which can replace this. I want to use personal pronoun where I can avoid the repetition of the noun, right? So I will write, I will give them 20 Euro. So I need to understand whether I am writing subject form or I am writing the object form, right? So if I refer this table, right? If I refer this table, just wait for a moment. If I refer this table here, right? So what is they is Z, right? They is Z, but them here, it can be Ihnen or it can be Z. Now that depends. So them I use in object, but I have two options, accusative or dative. Now here, if I talk about this sentence, so I will be using dative. I will be using dative. And what is the reason why I will use dative? Why I will not use accusative? The reason is here given is a verb which belongs to mixed dative verb. When we were discussing verbs, right? Do you remember we have discussed dative verbs? There are two forms of dative verbs. One is pure dative verbs and second is mixed dative verbs, right? So this given belongs to mixed dative verbs, right? Hence, I'll be using, because dative verb has come, so therefore I'll be using dative verb. Hence, answer will be Ihnen and small I, right? Small I, Ihnen. So Ram und Sham haben kein Geld. Ram und Sham haben kein Geld. Ich gebe Ihnen 20 Euro. I'll be using dative, right? Okay, let's look at the next example. Here it says Martina. Now I'm talking about a girl. Martina hat heute Geburtstag. So Tag, you already know the meaning of Tag is like Montag, right? Dienstag, right? Freitag, all this. The word Tag, like Guten Tag, good day. So what is the meaning of Tag? Day. Freitag, Friday. Montag, Monday. Similarly here, Geburtstag, that means birthday. Geburtstag, birthday. So Martina hat heute. Heute is today. Martina has birthday today. We gratulieren. We will congratulate. And whom we are going to congratulate? Martina. So we will congratulate Martina. But the problem is, I don't want to use Martina again and again. So in place of Martina, I need to use a different word which is known as personal pronoun, right? So we congratulate her. So she and her. She is subject, nominative, and her is an object. So I will be using an object, but which object? Whether accusative or dative, right? So gratulieren is a dative verb, and it belongs to pure dative verb. Hence, I will be using ear, right? Hence, I will be using ear. All right, you can refer this table from here also. See here, her. If I talk about, if I see here, her can be ear, can be z, but that depends whether I'm using dative or I'm using accusative, right? Both gives you the meaning of her, but z is she, right? This is nominative. Nominative is subject. So I hope this thing is clear to you. Now let's discuss some more examples. For example, here it says die Kinder, the children. Brauchen. Brauchen is need. The children need einen Ball. They need a ball. Ich schenke. I will gift einen neuen. Neuen is new. So the children need a ball. I will gift the children a new ball. But I can't write the children here. The reason is it will be a repetition, like the kinder here and the children here also. I want to avoid this repetition. I don't want to write the children. I want to write a personal pronoun which can replace this. So I will give them, right? So they and them. Two words are there for personal pronoun. They we use in place of subject, and them we use if I'm using it as an object, right? So here I will be using it as an object. So which object, accusative or dative? If so, schenken, I need to see the verb schenken, gift. Gift is a verb which belongs to mixed verb, right? Mixed verbs. That is why it is important for you to revise a topic of dative verbs, which we have done before, right? So dative verbs is very, very important. There are two types of dative verbs. One is pure dative verbs, and second is mixed dative verbs. This topic also we have discussed in detail. So if you have missed that class, I would again request you to take the notes and revise dative verbs. Now here I need to write them. So it would be ihnen with small I, right? Ihnen will be the correct answer here. Now these sentences are very, very important. You need to pay attention. Each word, every single word will change the answer here. Like first example, look at the first example. It says the studentin. So I'm talking about a female student. The female student hat eine Frage. Frage is question. So the female student has a question. She has a question. Der Lehrer. So here der Lehrer is teacher. But which teacher? Sir or madam? I'm talking about a male teacher, right? Sir, I'm talking about sir. So the female student has a question, and sir antwortet. Antwortet is answers. So the sir will answer her. So I need to write her. That means the female student. I need to write her. That means female student, right? But this her, which her? Because antworten is a dative verb. Hence, I'll be using dative here and not accusative, right? So answer would be ear. Ear would be the correct answer. Second sentence, it says their student. Now I'm talking about a male student. Here it was studentin, right? Here it is only student, so male student. So the boy has a question, Frage. Their student hat eine Frage. The boy has a question. There later, the teacher, the sir, undevoted answers. Now, this time I need to write him. The teacher answers him, right? So in German, it would be ihm. I will write dative. The reason is undevoted is a dative verb. Hence, I will be using object as an dative. And here it says, now look at the question again. It says their later, the teacher, which teacher, sir or madam? Here I'm talking about sir. The sir fragt asks the studentin, the female student. Aber is but. Who is Z? This female student. Female student. Undevoted answers nicht, not. So the teacher asks the female student, but she does not answer whom? The teacher, right? But I don't want to write the teacher because the teacher I have already written here. So I want to avoid this repetition. So I should write him here. Now him, I will write ihm. The reason is undevoted is a dative verb. Whenever I'm using dative verb, dative pronoun will come. If I'm not using a dative verb, then accusative pronoun will come. The only difference is if I'm using, see, it is very simple. If you are using a dative verb, then dative will come. If you are not using a dative verb, then accusative will come. It's very simple, right? So the later in the female teacher fragt asks, then student, the male student, I'm sorry, aber, but, air. Now who is air here? This male student is air here. But he antwortet nicht. Nicht is not. But he does not answer her. Right? I should write her. So ear shall be the answer. Right? So in exam also you need to be very, very careful when you answer any question. Right? So you need to go through with all the words. Like here, it's now again I have given you a very simple sentence. It says Peter. Peter is a name of a boy. Peter gibt mir. Mir is me. So Peter gives me viel Information. A lot of. Viel is a lot. A lot. Peter gives me a lot of information. Ich danke. Danke is thank. So Peter provides me a lot of information. I thank Peter. So, but I don't want to write Peter again and again. So hence I'll be using personal pronoun. Right now, Duncan is a dative verb. Hence, I will be using ihm here. Right? Ihm will be the answer, him. So if you can refer this table also again. Here is a table for you. Right? And here, if you see he is here, he and him can be ihm. It can be ihm. The difference is this is accusative and this is dative. Right? Okay, now here another sentence for you. It says Naresh, du bist sehr nett. Naresh, comma. So I'm talking to Naresh. Naresh, you are very nice. You are very nice. You are nice. Naresh, du bist sehr nett. Naresh, du bist sehr nett. I can also use the word sehr. Naresh, you are very nice. Ich gebe, I give. I will give eine Schokolade. Schokolade, chocolate. So I'll give you a chocolate. Right? So Naresh, you are very nice. I'll give you a chocolate. So I need to write you here. Right? So, but in English, it is easy to identify between I and me. It is easy to identify between he and him. It is easy to identify between she and her, because all these are subject and these are object. But in English, you and you, this will remain same. This is subject, this is an object. At both the places, we use you only, right? So here here I need to identify which you is it, whether this is subject or object. So who is giving the chocolate? The answer of who, the answer of who is always a subject. So who is giving a chocolate? I am giving a chocolate. So I is subject. What is verb? Give is verb, and this you is an object. And which object? It is a, it is an indirect object. And why it is an indirect object? Because given verb belongs to mixed verbs, right? I told you dative verbs, two types of dative verbs are there. One is pure dative verbs and second is mixed dative verbs. If you have missed that class, revise the notes of dative verbs. Now I will be using dear, right? I will be using dear here and not dish and not do. So three things are there. One, one is do, second is dish, and third is dear. Do is nominative, dish is accusative, and dear is dative. Here I am using dear because I need to use dative here. This do is subject. This is accusative, right? Okay, now this is more complicated for you. Please pay attention here. It says we get as, that means how are you? We get as. I need to write again. There is a comma for you. I'm asking to Peter. Peter, how are you? So I need to write you here, right? I need to write you here. Second sentence is we get as, and then there is a comma for you and Frau Müller. Now I'm talking to Frau Müller. That means how are you? Again, I need to write you. How are you, Frau Müller? Frau is Miss. How are you, Miss Müller? And then it says we get as, how are you? And then Kinder, children. So three different situations are there for you. One, I'm talking to Peter. That means informal. Peter, tum kaise ho? So I need to write tum. In Hindi, I need to write tum. Mrs. Mueller or Miss Mueller, both are correct. Mrs. Mueller, how are you? So Mrs. Mueller, aap kaise ho? And how are you, children? So tum sab kaise ho? Right? So you need to understand that you can be, three things are there. One is informal singular, second is informal plural, and third is formal singular or plural. This is do, dish, or dear. This is ear, oish, and oish. This is z, z, and inan, right? Capital I. So here, if I'm talking about informal, it should be dear. Here I'm talking about formal, hence with capital I, inan. And here I'm talking about informal but plural, hence it should be oish. So we get as oish, Kinder, we get as inan from Müller, and we get as dear Peter. Here it is more complicated for you, right? It says so here it is, I need to write the personal pronoun again, but here I have different sentences. This says, ich weiß, I know, das, that, du viele Probleme hast. I know that you, informal, right? I know that you have a lot of problem. Aber is but. Ich kann, but I can nicht helfen, not help. So I know that you have a lot of problem, but I cannot help you, right? So I need to write you, but which you? it will be informal, do. Hence, it should be dear because helpful verb is a dative verb and this belongs to pure dative verb. Hence, I'll use dear, informal. Second sentence, it says, Ich weiß, I know, das Sie, you again, but this is formal you. I know that you have a lot of problem. I know आपके आपकी आपकी समस्या बहुत ज्यादा है. Aber is but. I cannot help you. पर मैं आपकी मदद नहीं कर सकता. This was I know that you have a lot of problem. पर मैं तुम्हारी मदद नहीं कर सकता. This is I know that you have a lot of problem. But मैं आपकी मदद नहीं कर सकता. Right? क्योंकि आपकी प्रॉब्लम जाता है. यहाँ पे तुम्हारी प्रॉब्लम जाता है. So I should write Ihnen with capital I. Here it says the fourth one. Look at the fourth one. Ich weiß, I know. Das ihr means you all, informal plural. I know that you all have a lot of problem, but I cannot help you all. So you all. So it should be euch. Right? And here it says ich weiß, I know. Das Sie. Now here it is small s. Right? Here it was capital S. So you formal and small s, that means she. I know that she has a lot of problem, but ich kann nicht helfen, but I cannot help her. So ear will be the answer. So each word will change your answer. You have to be very careful while doing this topic. Personal pronouns. So personal pronouns are the words which we use in place of a noun. I hope this topic is clear to you now. Viel Spaß is have fun und danke. Thank you. And if you still have any doubt, you may ask by writing all the questions in the chat box, right? And all the best. Thank you very much.